the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Live from the virtual iRacing Superspeedway in virtual Concord, North Carolina, USA. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the opening round of the third discipline for the Cross Series League Racing 2021 season with the NASCAR Next Gen cars. Happy that you're all tuning in tonight where what is expected to be an exciting one from iRacing's own virtual super speedway. I am your host, Joshua Lee. Alongside with me in the commentary booth is Tyler Newitt with Marco Barbonera down in the virtual production trailer, and it's already time to take a look at that starting grid as the field gets ready to take the green flag here from a purpose-built iRacing track that is only available in the iRacing service and on NASCAR Racing 2003 season as the Coca-Cola Super Speedway. Adam Thompson starts where he left off in the dirt section of the calendar. He was the best of the best there and currently holds the points lead over Trevor Anderson. He starts on the pole with Robert Schwenkler to the outside. Josh Clogg, Bobby Ross, and Scott Benavidez rounds out your top five with Jaden Darling, Alex Anderson, Jimmy Howitt, Mike Sorum, and Trevor Anderson rounding out your top 10. Tyler Coates with Ashley Molyneux rounding out the top 12, and all the way down to P18 we have James Truitt, Chet Duranick, James Keir, Kevin Irwin, Tyler Campbell, and Scott Ronkin. So 18 drivers getting ready to take the green flag here at the iRacing Super Speedway, and I bring in my colleague Tyler Newitt now to take a look at these points. And Tyler, it was domination from Trevor Anderson in the first portion of the calendar on the road courses, but definitely had a bad time when it came to the dirt ovals, and Adam Thompson slid right in. He holds the points lead by 4 points over Trevor Anderson into the oval racing discipline of the calendar.
Yeah, you know, the drivers who win each series within XSLR get 10 bonus points, but you can tell from that Adam and Trevor don't really need them. Of course, they need them in the fight with each other, but they've clearly been the class of the field in those respective series, as you mentioned. Impressive performances between them, but it's not about dominating one series. As we saw, Trevor Anderson super quick in the GT3s, but he is not leading the championship. You know, you have to be well-rounded. That's the whole point of this series, and we're going to get to see 2 more disciplines covered by these impressive multi-talented drivers. We'll have to see how everything stands once it's all said and done, but we'll definitely have more of a sense. I think the paved oval portion is going to be very interesting because it's going to be pretty hard for somebody to dominate, you know, with the tracks we're going to. We've got, if I'm not mistaken, iRacing, Superspeedway, Daytona, Talladega, and Indianapolis. And of those, you know, Indy is really the only one that isn't totally up in the air. Obviously, it still takes skill to win at the plate tracks, as it were, but it's definitely more up for grabs. So a great time for both of our championship leaders to try and grab some points.
Trevor Anderson, 3 wins and a runner-up spot when it came to the GT3 portion of the calendar. Adam Thompson, 1 third place, 1 win, and then 2 runner-ups at Lanier, Cedar Lake, Eldora, and Knoxville when it came to the dirt oval portion of the calendar. They're ready to go racing in the asphalt oval portion of the calendar, and we still have 1 more portion left, being the dirt road portion with short course racing in the Pro 4 trucks at Crandon, Bark River, Wild Horse Pass, and Wild West. But right now, we're talking about asphalt ovals, and tonight we're talking about the iRacing Superspeedway, birthed off of the Coca-Cola Superspeedway from the NASCAR Racing 2003 season game. It was remastered specifically for iRacing. You cannot find this track in the real life, and it might be a good thing. It is very wide, very fast, and the high banks are sure to provide some incredible thrills. It's time to go racing. The asphalt oval portion of the calendar is ready to go green. Adam Thompson leads them to the green flag. We're underway in the next gen cars from iRacing Superspeedway.
And you're going to see it still look a little bit like those pace laps as everybody gets up to speed here, Josh. Just kind of building up the momentum. You'll really start to see the inside line forming up as we are. That's going to be the preferred way around early on here. We'll see if they can start to build momentum in the top line, but it'll take a little bit for those drivers working the top to really make something happen. That inside line is going to be the way to go for at least the first lap or so as Adam goes up to block the top line. It was a bit of a run there from, I believe that is Josh Klog on the outside. No, that's Robert Schwenkler, excuse me. Schwenkler had a run on the outside, enough so that Thompson felt the need to block, and we are well underway. Already some contact. That is... didn't catch the car number there. It was Scott Benavides who did the tapping that got, I believe it was the 33 of Bobby Ross, well out of shape and up the racetrack.
1 lap down, we go to lap 2. 27 on the docket tonight, and Adam Thompson doing an amazing job at leading the way now as they go back into turns 1 and 2. Starting a single file down on the bottom of the racetrack. Josh Klog up into P2. You're on board now with the 82 of Scott Benavides. Relatively up and down season for the Benavides, but still some good finishes on the board. Looking to keep those good finishes rolling here at the iRacing Superspeedway as they roar down the back straightaway. A couple stragglers closer to the back. Kevin Irwin, Chet Duranick, the 2 back there in a duo line as everybody gets single file. Just riding around now at the beginning of this race, Tyler, and survivability at these plate tracks really seems to be much more important than speed. If you can survive, you can win. And man, just look at the banking here at the virtual iRacing Superspeedway. That would not work in real life, but hey, we're in the sim. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, and there were some cars getting really well out of shape exiting turn number 4 there. But everyone has it back in order. They're single file out front, which is kind of what you'd expect. Early on, people scrap a little bit for positions on the start, really just depending on how much of a run you can get off the line. But for now, everyone filing back in about where they ended up. So it is Adam Thompson who leads from pole and from the championship lead ahead of Josh Klog. Robert Schwenkler, who started towards the front of the outside line, actually looking to make a move there on Scott Benavides to the outside. So nobody really content to sit and ride right now, except of course Adam Thompson in our race lead, Josh Klog in behind him. But you can really see what Schwenkler pulling out did to the group of cars that are battling now. That top 3 really was able to pull a bit of a gap, in fact a significant gap, almost half a second over Alex Anderson, Robert Schwenkler, Jimmy Howitt. As they get back in line, Schwenkler pulls in ahead of Howitt, and they'll try and close back down on that lead group.
It looks like relatively different pack racing than I think we normally see at Daytona and Talladega. Of course, this is a different track than what we see at Daytona and Talladega. Sort of a mix of restrictor plate racing and maybe normal racing that we see with these next-gen cars, akin to Auto Club, akin to Michigan, where we see them sort of running these small lines. The draft is useful, and you are going to need the draft to keep up in these lines, but they can break off relatively easily. And we also see this a bit at Daytona and Talladega, so it's not super unique coming into these next-gen cars, but these things draft a lot different than the old Gen 6s or the Gen 5 cars here on iRacing, and this track also acts much differently than Daytona and Talladega would, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to it in real life. The first time we see somebody try and bump draft maybe a damaged car, and they cause some damage to the rear diffusers that these next-gen cars have. As we've got a spin, that's Jaden Darling hard into the inside wall there. Gonna have to get back to my point, but Jaden all out of shape. Did he have some help? It looks as though he did. And that is the 3 car there, I believe. So that's Tyler Campbell who did the turning. And unfortunately, Jaden Darling is going to be well out of the pack, at least. Now we do have pit stops. We are going to see pit stops in this race. So it is, not impossible for Jaden to get back in it. But, that's certainly going to set him up.
Those pit stops are going to really change the direction that we see this race go into. On board with Scott Benavidez in the number 82, sitting just comfortably third in line right now behind Clog and Thompson. This is the lead group, the top 3 that are on a single file line as they race down the back straightaway here at the iRacing Superspeedway. And look at this, side by side, 2 lines now distinctly here in the second pack. That's not going to help them too much to catch that lead pack, but definitely you can see these drivers getting a little bit antsy here closer to the back of the field, starting to want to race up towards the front, but they're going to need to get single filed out if they want to catch that lead pack. All of this side by side is only going to hurt them, Tyler, as they continue to fall a little bit off base. And look at the run coming from James Truitt in the 5. He'll take it to the outside, trying to go around Trevor Anderson in the 211. He'll pull up side by side, door to door, trying to use the draft off of the 235 of Robert Schwenkler ahead, but Schwenkler pulls down into line, gonna leave the 5 up to dry. And
it was the same 2 we saw trying to make a move on the outside earlier, Schwenkler and Howitt. Just not able to make any forward progress. Clearly they feel like whoever's leading this group is doing something wrong, that's not allowing this group to catch up to the lead trio of Thompson, Clog, and Benavidez. But there's just not much you can do in that position, because every time you pull out of that secondary train, you lose more time. It's just not. It's not something you can really afford to do if you want to have any hope of catching up to the leading pack. So it's a tough situation to be in, because you're sure Schwenkler and Howitt feel like, they've got the speed, they can run down those top 3, but as it stands right now, what they're doing isn't really helping their situation at all. Continuing to work closer down into those pit stops that we are expected to see. 50% fuel in these cars, so pit stops are definitely inevitable. Just a question of when we're going to see them, who's going to be the first to come down. And with 20 laps to go, that time just continuing to wind down and down and down. Laps continuing to clock their way through, and about 55 seconds per lap here in a draft on the iRacing Superspeedway, so it'll continue to tick down and down. Just an interesting look at the manufacturers there on the timing tower. Thank you, Marco. Only 2 Toyota Camrys sit in this race, and the majority of the Chevy Camaros, that is relatively used to seeing on iRacing, but definitely some good Ford Mustangs representing here in the XSLR from iRacing Superspeedway. These next-gen cars obviously will be coming to the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022. We got them a bit early here on iRacing, and they have been used for a couple of months now in 2 official series and a handful of leagues and hosted sessions, and continuing to build up that anticipation to 2022 for the NASCAR Cup Series. And we're using them here in the Cross Series League Racing Asphalt Oval portion of the calendar, and getting a good look at James Keir there, leading the 3rd line, and the 3rd distinct line that we see right now, and Mike Sorum, 69, at the tail end of that line. That is Keir, Campbell, Ross, and Sorum. 3 drivers who have raced in almost every single round here of the calendar, and we go on board to that on Thompson, still commanding the lead at the front of the field at 244. Has not moved since the drop of the green flag. Yeah, you have to wonder if that 3rd group was hoping for a little more carnage. It's certainly not impossible, and it's an age-old strategy at the restrictor plate tracks. And you sit in the back and you wait for trouble to happen in front of you, and then once the time is right, you pick your way forward. Unfortunately for them, it's been clean and green all the way so far. Everybody minding their P's and Q's at the moment. Thompson, Clog, Benavides, we've said it already, they lead this race. They have pretty much the whole way, certainly Adam Thompson has. And they're doing a really good job of staying in order, except for Benavides, who's popped out a few times trying to make a run. But what it's doing is not allowing those groups behind them to catch up. As soon as they start fighting, that's when the trailing packs will start to catch them. But you have to believe with 17 laps to go in this race, they are not even close to starting to make that happen. Kevin Irwin into pit lane, really hot on the tires there. That's going to be close to a pit lane speeding penalty. Pitting a bit early and doing something you don't really want to be doing at these tracks, which is pitting without a partner. He's really going to struggle if he gets back out on track without any drafting help. So not ideal for Kevin, but we know everyone's going to need to pit, so it could still shake out for him all right.
Definitely wondering if Kevin Irwin might have had a problem that prompted him to go into the pit lane, because that is very interesting to see him pitting alone. I definitely don't think he would have planned to pit alone, but could be a strategy that he is going with, maybe just trying to get ahead of these drivers to the point where he can fall back and maybe lead a line when they catch up to him. We'll have to see how that is going to develop throughout the rest of this race as we continue to go racing here at the iRacing Superspeedway. 16 laps to go, and we would like to thank the title sponsor of tonight's race here in the Cross Series League Racing season, Dangeruss. Dangeruss is a top 3D visualization firm specializing in high-quality 3D product, CAD, package rendering services, and photorealistic product visuals. They specialize in automotive subjects and have extensive industrial and consumer product design experience. Let them help you visualize, promote, and communicate your designs. Visit them at dangeruss.net. We also would like to thank Acer Engines for their support across Series League Racing. For over 30 years, Acer Engine Supply has been rebuilding and restoring engines of all shapes and sizes in the Colorado Springs area. Today, their attention to detail and commitment to customers remains unchanged. From restoring an old classic to getting your daily driver running again, Acer Engine Supply will get you back on the road. Visit them at acerenginesupply.com. Continuing on, lap number 15 here from the iRacing Superspeedway. It's Adam Thompson at the head of the field with Josh Clogg, Scott Benavides, Trevor Anderson, and Ashley Molyneux rounding out your top 5. Look at this. The lead pack has been caught by a 3-car breakaway from the second line. It's now Alex Anderson, Scott Benavides, and Ashley Molyneux rounding out that top 5 as they have caught the lead pack. Let's see what happens as they try and get by now. Your race leader, Scott Benavides, now back shuffled into 4th as Alex Anderson gets by for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, and I was watching it happen, Josh. I think part of the problem for the race leaders was Jaden Darling was going a lap down, or a further lap down at that point. No, just 1 lap down. So he caused some, he did what he needed to do and stayed well out of the way, but I think it was Scott Benavides trying to make a move happen with the help of Jaden Darling. And just as we suspect, once they got to fighting, that secondary pack was right there waiting to catch back up to them. And it was specifically the 2-car tandem of Alex Anderson and Ashley Molyneux that worked their way forward. So now it remains to be seen if Jimmy Howitt, Tyler Coates, Robert Schwenkler, if that group can do the same. But with all that in mind, it seems that group has actually fallen further off. They're now some 4 seconds back with this lead pack 5 cars strong, as we see Bobby Ross heading for pit lane, Chet Duranick in as well. And with the lead pack now 5 cars strong, it almost seems as if they're going a little quicker.
With 13 to go, that time just starting to run out. Let's see how this race is going to end. Remember, for everybody except for now Bobby Ross and Mike Storm as they both come into the pit lane. Jaden Darling, who had an incident, still needs to pit, but he's already 1 lap down from that incident, so we are not going to concern him. Everybody else from 1st on down to 12th, from Thompson to Campbell, still needs to pit here in this race. They cannot make it to the end on fuel, and here they come. Adam Thompson is in. Everybody back behind is in. Contact speed going into the pits, and Benavidez makes contact with Molyneux, contact with the wall, and the 82 is spun backwards.
And you could hear that one brewing on the driver chat. Everyone was getting a little talkative as they were getting ready to plan to come to pit lane together. And unfortunately for Scott Benavidez and potentially Ashley Molyneux as well, that could have serious consequences. Benavidez just a little too hot under the collar entering pit lane, locked up the brakes, and Ashley Molyneux was an innocent bystander there.
Here's the onboarded Benavidez trying to get it slowed down. And it looked like when he was on the brakes, he locked it up a little bit too hard, slammed into Molyneux. Then that spun him around and slammed into the pit wall. Scott Benavidez can kiss this race goodbye as everybody else comes out of the pit lane. Adam Thompson, fuel only. Same thing with Clog, Alex Anderson, Robert Schwenkler, Jimmy Howard, and more. Most of them taking only fuel during that stop. Ashley Molyneux with a 4.4 seconds in the box, but she is out way late from a slower pit lane time, 42.7 versus the 31.5 of your race leader. She's going to make a pass on Jimmy Howitt on the race off of pit road as they race down the back straightaway. And a 15.7 in the pit stall. And slow stop from Ashley Molyneux, going to push her back into P5, and Adam Thompson with the lead. And take a look at Josh Clog not getting separated from Adam Thompson here late in this race.
Yeah, I saw some cars up on the jack taking tires. I'd imagine Ashley was one of those. I know Scott Benavidez was as well. Scott will have taken a fast repair there, but that spin will have put him well out of the draft, which is really a death sentence around here unless we get a caution. So tough break for Benavidez. Ashley has lost this kind of lead duo, but we've seen so far that handling is not a non-factor here like it sometimes is on the plate track. So I'm very interested to see if Ashley can make use of those fresh tires and fight her way back to the front here with the help of potentially Anderson, Schwenkler, that group that she's in with Jimmy Howard as well, all right there.
Getting a little bit close as Tyler Coates is one lap down at the tail end of that field. This is the next driver that they are racing for live track position. That is Alex Anderson in P3. There's a line with Schwenkler, Molyneux, and Howitt. They are currently racing 4th, 5th, and 6th. If they stay in this draft line, Tyler, undoubtedly they are going to catch up. Oh my, that is very close in that bump draft to getting turned around from Molyneux onto Schwenkler, but they're undoubtedly going to catch up to Alex Anderson. The question is, can they then catch up to Clog and Thompson in just about 9 laps? Because they're out at the front of the field by more than 5.5 seconds, about to be 6 seconds as Alex Anderson continues to fall.
Yeah, they're making up time, but they're not making up enough. It's going to take something happening up front, I'd have to believe, for this group to get anywhere close to Thompson and Clog. They're just too far back, I think, is the problem. You know, they're as you said, they were 9 seconds. It's now close to 8.5, but it's just going to need to fall a little quicker than that, and I just can't see that happening. I don't see Clog making a move on Thompson till the very end, and if he doesn't, that's really the only way this draft is, aside from a bump draft gone awry. I mean, these two clearly know what they're doing. They know their way around a plate track, and I think Thompson and Clog are going to be the ones we see fighting for the win here.
And as those laps continue to tick on by, they go to the back straightaway with 9 laps to go. An interesting end to this race, to say the least. Make sure that you stay tuned here on Apex Racing TV because we are nowhere near done. The racing is only just about to heat up as there is that line. They have caught up to Alex Anderson. Now they need to stay single file, catch up to that lead 2, and make it a 2-horse fight to the win. Make it into a 6-car fight to the win. And they continue on to the front straightaway. You can see them already trying to stay single file, catch up to the lead 2, but Thompson and Clog are tucked in behind one another, trying to keep pulling away, and there is a lapped down duo that is in between these two packs.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me, Josh, is they didn't really lose any time when they picked up Anderson. A lot of the times, you'll see it happen that a stray car, a straggler, attaches themselves on the front of a pack, and it really slows them up for a lap or two, but they managed to keep cutting that gap down. So not out of the question that they get to the front, but they might need some help to do it. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Watch that gap as it continues to tick down. We've got 8 laps to go. It was about 8 seconds at the line, so you kind of know what the numbers need to be. If we see 7 seconds at the line, they're in good shape. But the front two have this added help of the lap down car of Chet Duranek in front of them. That's really going to, the bigger the pack, the faster you go in some cases. So that'll help them out. The other thing it might do is separate Thompson from Clog. And if that's the case, then Thompson could really run away with this one and have a chance at an easy win.
Let's see what will happen here. And Duranek obviously trying to stay on that lead lap. Behind the wheel in that Crohn's and Colitis Foundation number 407. Able to do it for the moment. Or sorry, 42 machine of Chet Duranek trying to stay above that lead lap. This is not going to help them, Tyler, as they go side by side. Maybe if they swap and very quickly get back into a single final line, but running side by side, you scrub so much speed with the aerodynamics of these cars, and they get back to single file, and they need to stay like this, because if they don't, they will not catch that lead duel. You can see when they went side by side, they lost about a second of what they made up, and they're still trying to go side by side down the front straightaway. This is not what this group needs to do, but that track position and those points might be just a little bit more important right now with 6 to go.
Yeah, I gotta believe, Josh, they saw what the gap was. They saw it wasn't coming down fast enough, and they said, all right, it's time to fight. I don't know if there are any team allegiances here. We've seen Howitt and Schwenkler work together already in this race. So potentially this is teammates forming up and trying to make something happen. But at the end of the day, I think they were aware that they weren't going to close that gap down on pace alone. So they will fight amongst themselves for 3rd place at the moment and hope that potentially there's some trouble at the front before the start-finish line and they can take advantage of it.
Well, 5 laps to go as they come across the line now, and you can see this further back battle between the 3rd car, 4th, 5th, and 6th place on the racetrack. Time winding down here in the Cross Series League Racing opening round of the asphalt oval discipline on the calendar with the NASCAR Next Gen cars from the iRacing Superspeedway. We would like to thank a couple more of our special names that are supporting the Cross Series League Racing fund here for the season, and that includes Tamil Pies Tanning. They provide full spectrum UV treatments and custom organic sugar-based DHA airbrush solutions. Located in Corte Madera, California, they are the only salon in the U.S. to offer these services. Red light therapy and blue light therapy beds are also available with a doctor's recommendation. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/TamTanco. Once again, that is facebook.com/TAMTANCO. We also like to very quickly thank Nexus Fabrication. They specialize in metal fabrication and manufacturing for commercial, residential, and custom projects, as well as signage, furniture, and metal repair work. Visit them at nexusfab.com. We also would like to thank Shears Salon. They're located in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And Shears Salon, trust your peers and come to Shears. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Samantha@ShearsSalon. 4 to go from iRacing Superspeedway, and it's still Adam Thompson in control of the field. Now the question is starting to shift, Tyler, of not will that second pack catch up. We know now that they won't. Question is, when is Clog going to step out? And a bigger question is, will Chet Duranek try and help him in getting past Adam Thompson for the race win?
I'm not sure he needs to, and it looks as though they might kind of check out from Chet here. As they go by another lapped car. That is, excuse me, that's Mike Storm in his pink and black livery, which he carried over from the dirt cars. I'm happy about. That was always a fun car to look at. Yeah, I think if you're Josh Clog, you're waiting until turn 4 of the last lap. You know, you just gotta, if you're smart, you will have practiced this. You'll know when you can get a run on somebody to try and time it right at the line. But it's all just a bit of luck, to be honest. You know, with some good blocking, any run can be diffused. So I think Josh has really just got to, stay in line. Worst case scenario, he finishes second, and best case scenario, he can grab a win if he times his moves right. But it's a matter of figuring out what's important, because making that move too early, you risk a bad block going awry and throwing away any chance at a good finish. So it's all a matter of timing, and if you're looking for the answer to what is the correct timing, the answer is I don't know, or there isn't one.
Lap and a half to go, making about a lap and a quarter as we'll take the white flag this time by. Josh Klog sitting in second. Will he want to finish there, or is he going to go for the win? The white flag comes out this time. It's 1 to go from the iRacing Superspeedway. We have gone caution-free this entire race. Green flag all the way to the end. Let's see how this one is going to wind up. Josh Klog tucked in behind Adam Thompson. It has been the same story for 27 laps. Will he make it different on the final one? Adam Thompson trying to continue his winning ways on from the dirt oval portion. He earned the 10 bonus points, being the best of the rest when it comes to dirt oval and 410 wing sprint car racing. His only win of the season came at Cedar Lake Speedway. Look at Josh Klog getting a little bit farther back from Adam Thompson, trying to build a run up. It's Chet Duranek in the 42, 1 lap down, gonna help him through the final corner into the front straightaway. It's gonna be too little too late. He's gonna step out at the line, but coming to the stripe, Adam Thompson is gonna win from the iRacing Superspeedway.
And here is that battle for third. It's Anderson clear ahead of Milano, Schwenkler, and Howitt. So they all got sorted out there at the end. Doesn't look like Bobby Ross here is gonna try and make a move on James Truitt at the line. So all nice and orderly for the most part there. Obviously, Klog tried something, but it was just a little bit too late. As we said, it's tough to get that timing right because it changes every time. Adam Thompson with a stellar victory. Knew exactly what he needed to do, ran the race to plan, and just flawless run, really. That's all you can say.
And how it comes across the line, spinning, and what an opening race to the asphalt oval portion of the calendar. We're going to see these next-gen cars at Talladega, Indianapolis, and Daytona coming up in the next 3 weeks. But this one belongs to Adam Thompson from the iRacing Superspeedway. He'll burn it down on the front straightaway. And what a win for the 244. If we take a look at your full finishing results, what a way to start this portion of the calendar for Adam Thompson. He is victorious from the iRacing Superspeedway. Josh Klog comes home P2, just 4/100ths of a second back. Alex Anderson, Ashley Molyneux, and Robert Schwenkler round out your top 5. Jimmy Howitt, James Truitt, Bobby Ross, Tyler Campbell, and James Keir going to round out that top 10. Scott Benavidez, Chet Duranek, Tyler Coates, Mike Sorum, and Kevin Irwin, your top 15, with Jaden Darling, Trevor Anderson, and Scott Rankin. Fortunately, not starting this race, so 17 cars finish, and I think most notably out of these results, Tyler, Trevor Anderson, who was 4 points behind Adam Thompson, finishes in P17, and Adam Thompson walks away with the checkered flag.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough for Anderson to make up. We'll see if he has anything to show for Adam the rest of this series or the next, but that is not what you want to see when you're fighting for a championship. Those kind of finishes can really hurt, and it's going to take some bad luck on Adam Thompson's part to shift that balance back toward Trevor Anderson. But Adam Thompson and a few others doing some donuts, getting their celebrations done here at iRacing Superspeedway. And man, I am really looking forward to the I was about to say the conclusion, but we're only halfway there. The remainder of XSLR has been stellar so far, and I think we're in for some more great racing.
And we will get some great racing from Talladega Superspeedway in 1 week's time, but we will have a post-race show here for you from the iRacing Superspeedway, getting to hear from your top 3 podium finishers here from the virtual iRacing Superspeedway, and we begin with your race winner in Adam Thompson. He joins us in the broadcast booth now, and Adam, just what a race. You led every single lap. Domination is the only way to describe it. Congratulations on your 2nd win of the season.
Yeah, thanks, Joshua.
And going through this race, it did not look too easy for you, especially at the start. You nailed that start, got out in front, but then it was managing the pit stop and then keeping Josh Klong behind you. Were you confident in your speed coming into this race that you could be that dominant car and really control this race from the lead?
Well, here's what I was confident about, not being confident in anything. In these plate tracks, you've got to have help, and I think Josh kind of got the hint. We hooked up, and we were able to get around and start gapping the guys third on back, and I was hoping he was going to try to race me. I'm glad he didn't do it sooner. I want to give a big shout out to him for pushing me around, because I'm telling you, I wouldn't have won this race if it wasn't for him and without his help. But he tried there at the end. I was like, oh, he might have it. He kind of backed off there going into turn 3 and tried to get a run on me going up to the start-finish line. If he would have done it 200 feet sooner, I would have been finishing second and not first.
And moving on in the asphalt oval portion of this calendar, Talladega coming up next. Can we see another dominating performance from the 244 there?
Hey, well, I mean, I hope so, but you never know with these tracks. To be honest, with these cars, again, you need help. And I hope I'll be talking to you guys again, but we'll see.
We hope to hear from you again as well. Congratulations on your 2nd win of the season here from the iRacing Superspeedway, Adam.
Thanks, Josh. Give me 1 second here, guys, before you kick me out. I want to give a huge shout out to all the sponsors, real quick, like Nexus Fab, Dangeruss, Acer Engines, Tamal Pius Tanning, Bobby Ross gave a personal donation, as well as Jimmy Howlett with oh my goodness, Jim Perry Race Engines, and Samantha with Sheer Salon. All those guys make this possible and make it possible for us to put these on for you guys, and make it possible for us to have Apex Racing as a broadcaster. And you guys do an awesome job, so thank you very much for that. And one more thing, this car paint, I hope you guys got it. For Mojo, he passed away a couple weeks ago, but Teresa, this one's for you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us post-race, Adam. And once again, congratulations on that 2nd win of the season.
Thanks, Joshua.
Good to hear from the race winner. And we transition to 2nd place, Josh Klog. He's standing by with Tyler Newitt.
Well, Josh, it was, as we called it, too little too late for you, but clearly you as Adam said, you got the memo and hooked up pretty early on, and from there you guys had pretty much control over the race. Just a matter of keeping it in line and biding your time and waiting for your moment. And in the end, looks like you just missed it by a tiny little bit.
Yeah, and that's, all good with me. Not upsetting or anything. P2 solid. But yeah, I knew from the practices that I could draft with Adam pretty well. And once we got a little bit of a gap, I just figured, well, let's keep at it and see if we can grow it. I guess, I don't know if everybody else took tires or not. That was a little bit longer of a pit stop, it seemed, for everybody else. We had a good gap coming out of the pits, but yeah, all in all, went well.
Absolutely. The question I have to ask, because we talked about it a little on the broadcast, did you practice what you were going to do if you were second coming to the line, or was that just on the fly?
Nah, yeah, I've never actually raced this track before this, so I didn't know timing wise where would be the good spot to back off and then try and get the run. Misjudged it a little bit, but yeah, next time.
Absolutely, and it is another plate track next time at Talladega. Are you looking forward to that one? Are you a fan of the plate tracks, or is it just a matter of getting through this series for you?
No, I do like the plate tracks. Plate tracks and short tracks are my preference, but yeah, as long as you have a couple guys you can work with for the plate tracks, then all's good.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, a really stellar finish today. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for doing a wonderful broadcast. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, and thanks to you for joining us in the booth. And we will see you next time out at Talladega. Josh Clogg, your second place finisher, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good one.
So we conclude that interview with Josh Clogg, and we go to Alex Anderson. I believe the first time we are speaking to him here on Apex Racing TV. Correct me if I am incorrect, Alex, but good finish from you and a comfortable third place finish. And we saw after the pit stops, that battling going on in that backpack. We sort of just assumed that you guys saw the gap, realized it was a bit too much, and then started sort of having your own battle there for P3. But what was going on back there in that pack? Because you guys looked like you were catching up to the leads duo rather quickly after those pit stops.
Well, really, it was all because Ashley, I can't thank her enough. She really helped me get this podium, and she was an amazing pusher, and she really helped me get the speed. And I really think that if she was able to get behind me in line with Jimmy and Rob following us, I really think that we would have been able to catch Josh and Adam. But good for those two. I had quite a bit of fun racing around there, and yeah.
And of course, this was a relatively wild card on the calendar, obviously, with it really not being used in official series too often, and it being a completely fantasy track. And it looked like you took to it rather quickly with qualified 7th, not the best performance, but up 4 spots from where you started the race, so that's good. And going into the race tonight, how confident were you that you could walk away with a good finish, with it being more so less about skill, some skill still being needed, but it more being about luck and how you work those lines?
Honestly, I was quite nervous because it really all depends, like qualifying position with these cars, it means a lot with where you end up finishing. I honestly, sorry, this is my first interview. I really just think it all depends on like right place, right time kind of stuff, you know? Like you have to time like moving up to the high side with somebody. You have to time that perfectly with these cars. It's just all about timing, I think, and how the drafting works with the next gens, and how you have to adapt and how you have to adapt to that, and how it's different from, like, say, the Gen 6, the Xfinity cars, or the trucks.
Talladega, Indianapolis, Daytona on the horizon. Is another third place finish, maybe a second place or a win coming up in the future of this asphalt oval portion of the calendar?
I would say I'm looking forward to mostly Indianapolis, because I've heard that the next gens drive like Indy cars there now, and for whatever reason I've always been really good with Indy cars at Indianapolis. So that's one that I'm really going to be trying to shoot for, and hopefully we can get a good finish there and at Talladega and Daytona as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us post-race here on Apex Racing TV. Alex, congratulations on this third place from iRacing Superspeedway.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Great to hear from your third place finisher. And Tyler, this is going to just sort of lead us into Dega, Indianapolis, and Daytona. Indy's sort of just the middle portion of it that is a little bit different. Obviously not pack racing there, but we'll be in these large packs, Talladega and Daytona. A lot is on the horizon, and I think this is really going to be the portion of the calendar that's going to shake these points up. It already has, with Adam Thompson winning the race, and second place in the points, Trevor Anderson finishing all the way down P17 on the day.
Absolutely, Josh. I mean, this series has just seen some tremendous variety, and some really good drivers have risen to the top. We've seen some really great performances from a whole host of guys. As you said, Indy kind of the wild card in this group. It's my understanding that the drivers voted on the tracks, or at least some of the tracks. So clearly there's some fans of the plate stuff, but that's fun. I'm a fan of the plate stuff. So I think we're in for a good series here in the paved oval portion, with the track selection we got on hand. I think it's going to be fun.
We hope that you'll join us in 1 week's time from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Really quickly, we'd like to thank final 2 sponsors that help put on Cross Series League Racing, and that includes Laketown Creations. Family owned and operated, Laketown Creations builds custom, heartfelt creations using wood and other materials for your home or office. We can turn your vision into reality. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/Laketown Creations. Also, I'd like to thank the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They are a nonprofit, volunteer-fueled organization dedicated to finding cures for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and improving the quality of life of children and adults affected by these diseases. You can visit them online at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. For Marco Barbonera down in the virtual production trailer, for Tyler Newitt, us alongside myself, Joshua Lee in the commentary booth, we thank you so much for joining us from iRacing Superspeedway for the opening round of the Asphalt Oval portion of the Cross Series League Racing 2021 calendar. We hope you'll join us in 1 week's time from virtual Talladega as the season continues.